I'm Douglas Balentine. I'm Director of Nutrition and Health at Unilever and Chair of the ILSI Dietary Flavonoids Committee, and I'd like to welcome you this morning to our session on our dietary active biocomponents ready for review and recommended intake levels. So we look forward to a really interesting and active discussion after our presentations this morning. Just for those of you who don't know, this is a session sponsored by ILSI, the International Life Sciences Institute. And the mission of ILSI is to improve human and environmental health, safety, and well-being around the world. And it does so through a unique tripartite arrangement where it allows academics, government scientists, and industry scientists to come together to address important scientific issues in the area of human health and environmental health and safety. So this is a session that's been put together through the ILSI Flavonoids Committee. ILSI has a number of committees. These are just a few of them. Won't spend a lot of time on it, but each one of these committees is trying to address specific and interesting scientific issues that need to be addressed. The Flavonoids Committee, particularly, we have John Ergman here. He's our academic chair, along with Joanna Dwyer, and the government liaison has been Allison Yates. And the member companies you can see on the left. Just so we're all grounded in part of the discussions today about bioactives is going to be in the area of dietary flavonoids. So I've borrowed this from Joanna Dwyer just quickly, because just wanted to ground everybody so we're clear on the group of compounds that are going to be discussed this morning are a group of compounds that are pretty ubiquitous in the food supply. They come in cocoa, tea, citrus, cranberries, grapes, apples. Many of the foods we eat, onions, many of the foods we eat are sources of them, and many of them are unique in that many of these different classes are unique to some of them. For example, isoflavones are pretty unique to soy, and the citrus isoflavones, which are like naringin at the bottom, are pretty unique to citrus fruits. But this is just grounding, and these are the compounds that we're talking about. They're monomeric compounds and they're polymers, and you'll hear more about them as we go through this morning's session. So just to give you a quick overview of the session, we will be talking about using flavonoids as a model for addressing how you might set dietary intake recommendations for bioactive components, what would be the scientific basis for setting those recommendations. So we'll review the science of flavonoids in health as part of this discussion. And then we'll really look at what would be the road to being able to set recommended intake levels for non-essential food components or bioactive. And it is important because historically with IOM and DRIs, dietary recommendation and intake recommendations have been limited to only those essential nutrients found in our foods. And more we're aware that non-essential food components and bioactives appear to contribute to health and wellness in significant ways. And more the science in this area emerges, leading to the need to say, how would we, as a scientific organization and scientific group, come to an agreement around how to make recommendations for intake levels for these sorts of compounds. We'll want to discuss what are some of the barriers, both scientific barriers, and when it comes to flavonoids, where might be the research gaps. What are the key elements that would go into helping to set the framework for reviewing the science in an evidence-based way? How do we move this discussion forward, and how can this be done? And we'll finalize with a lively panel discussion chaired by Rob Russell.